Hello everyone, welcome back to EventAdvice. We are CrowdComms. I am Will Custard, this is Matt Allen. This is a series of videos where we just basically give loads of our massive knowledge on events, right?
You cocky bugger, you.
So with that in mind, today we are talking about CPD and particularly in the associations market. So CPD, continuous or continuing professional development. Give us a little bit of a synopsis of what that means. What is it?
So I think it can be called CPE as well.
Okay.
So continuing professional development or continuing professional education. So I think it might be different terminologies depending on where you are in the world, or even in different types of organizations, it can be called different things. It's such a crucial part in membership communities, associations, and organizations to ensure that people have the knowledge, the appropriate knowledge and expertise to continue to do their roles. So often in medical roles, I'll give you the example of my wife as a veterinary surgeon. She is required to make sure that she is learning and understanding best practices. So many of those best practices are learnt in practice, so you learn from your peers. But in a practice, you have 4 or 5 people that you're learning from, and you might watch videos and you'll look at what other people are doing, but most of your knowledge comes from those people that you work with day to day. Now, a great membership community, which is essentially what an association is, broadens that depth of knowledge and gives you the opportunity to learn from and hear from many more voices. And the importance of CPE or CPD is to verify that you have participated in, you have completed, you have obtained that knowledge that you can then take back to your workplace, your practice, your surgery, and to impart that knowledge in other people.
And we're not talking about a nice to have, are we? We're talking about mandatory.
It invalidates, in many scenarios, it will invalidate your insurance not to have the necessary CPD or CPE completed each year. You are required to do it as part of your insurance in your operation in that particular role.
Prove that you are continuing to educate yourself with the new things that are happening, things like that. Yeah, absolutely. When we talk about that from an association point of view, are we mainly talking about, hybrid, virtual, in-person? I guess it can be all of them.
Everything. From a technology perspective, our responsibility is to ensure that we can provide solutions, which I no doubt we'll come on to, provide solutions that enable the validation or verification that someone has participated and done it, whether it be a webinar, whether it be an audience that's split between home and in-person, or whether it's a purely in-person audience. We have a responsibility to, and let's also be clear, we have 2 responsibilities. One, to deliver that content, to provide the delivery of that content in a way that makes it digestible and relatable, and also provide engagement. And then we are absolutely responsible for ensuring that we tick that box of saying that they participated in, completed. I'm always a bit torn. This will probably going off tangent as always. If I've watched something, is that enough?
Yeah.
Is it important that I've understood it?
Yeah.
And that's where the detail in CBT comes, particularly from a webinar perspective, but it's the same if you're watching it in person. Is just being there enough? And it shouldn't be. We should be challenging people to understand, to demonstrate that they've listened, to engage with, to demonstrate that they're participating. It can't, in my opinion, it shouldn't be, and it is at times, it shouldn't just be a Will was checked into the session, Will was checked out of the session. Will sat on his mobile phone, and I know we build apps, but I don't want someone sitting on a mobile phone for the whole of a bloody session.
Absolutely.
It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Watch the speaker. But you could sit there and watch BBC News, couldn't you, for 30 minutes?
Particularly
in my mind, you don't deserve a CPD certification. So
you're correct.
How do we provide mechanisms that enable you to censor check that content as being absorbed as well?
Yeah. Particularly when we're talking from an accreditation point of view, that I guess there are different levels of CPD. So my wife was a medical rep for a long time, and she used to have to go and do it. And that really was just, attendance. There was no test at the end of it, and it wasn't life or, well, I guess when you're talking about medicines and you're talking about medical devices and things like that, it is life and death at the end of it if you don't understand it, if you sold it wrong. But like you say, when you are talking about CPD, professional accreditations, then quite often in lots of other walks of life, there will be exams at the end of it. There will be, you will need to prove that you have understood it to achieve that accreditation.
It's very interesting. I don't know if this is certainly the case, but this is a perception. It could be a wrong one. So if I'm giving misinformation, I apologise. It's just an opinion.
We're in the era of misinformation, so it's fine.
At least I'm caveating that I'm not certain.
We'll fact check it later.
We'll fact check. I'm not certain this is just an opinion. There is often, if you are in person, you can obtain more points more quickly at attending an event. So, for example, with veterinary, my wife could go to Birmingham each year or to Miami or wherever they do the annual congress, and she can get pretty much all of her CPD certification in 2 days, 2 or 3 days that will cover the year. Yep. She'll do other stuff, but she could get it in that timeline. Because she's part-time, it's harder because she won't, as a part-time employee, she won't get the rub of being said, oh, you're off to Miami, because that's too much of an investment. That's for the full-time team. Don't be angry if you're watching this from the veterinary, but nobody's watching this from the veterinary practice. But anyway, so you do it online. If you do it online, you have to provide a summary of everything you watch. And it is blimmin' days worth of webinars and on-demand videos that you go to, and then you have to write a summary. My wife, it normally doesn't have time unless we're on holiday. So it's on holiday that she's doing this.
Yep.
And it, can really eat into the only time that she has available to where she isn't parenting or, working to do it. And it takes longer because it's virtual. I don't know if that should be the case.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. Right. Let's talk about, obviously it feeds into career growth as well. It's not just, are you maintaining that level? It can be, organizations can obviously need it for proof that you are ready to take the next step. It's almost, proof that you are capable.
Well, yeah, you need to know something to implement it and do it. In a case, an example is your team. If you're looking at career progression, then we look at qualification that facilitate it. And it's the same in these membership communities. There are people that want to reach the next milestone or step professionally, but you need to have the knowledge to be able to apply it in the correct way.
Are association events, unique in terms of delivering CPD events, or is it broader than that?
I think, look, associations are corporate professional membership communities. There are lots of membership communities that aren't classified as associations. And what we're finding traditionally in business, that there's a huge overlap in terms of the way that we do things. The best practices that the association communities have been implementing for years and now actually coming back into the corporate world. So we want to make sure that we have a community that collaborate, because we understand that the more voices are better than one. We want to make sure that people are heard and listened to on a more regular basis, so we create a technology that facilitates that. And so actually I think they're not necessarily unique anymore, because I think corporate world are actually replicating a lot of those kind of membership practices that we've seen in associations for decades.
Well, even we use it ourselves, don't we? When we are training our staff on different features, and if you do certain modules within our training, you become a bit of, an expert in the badging or the kiosks or the registration or whatever, then, you can get we know which staff have done those modules who are experts in it and can kind of advance themselves. So you can use it in all sorts of different scenarios.
Yeah, we definitely do it as a way of, it's that carrot and stick, isn't it? You get rewards for doing it, so there's incentives and competition element linked to gamification doing things. And there's also like the certification badge element, but there's also the requirement of it. So quite often with what we're positioning to our team, it might be a GDPR update or an ISO 27001 update where we need everyone to be adhering to the same policies.
Yep.
And I need to be able to confirm that every single member of the team has watched it. So having mechanisms where we can look at the webinar and say, Matt Allen watched for 33 minutes and completed the survey that demonstrates he understood it. Will Custard only watched for 5 minutes. Come on, Will.
Yeah.
You might have passed the test, but you only watched it for 5 minutes.
Donna chases me regular.
Skippity-roo, straight to the survey. So we need to have that kind of granular information.
It's where we come in, isn't it? It's, these things have been happening for years and years and years without technology particularly getting involved. They are writing it down on a sheet. You're getting a certificate in your post. It's being done offline. Where we come into it is obviously, and we'll talk about actually the technology for the certification that we can bring in. But in terms of building a community, making it easy to achieve those things, your wife on holiday, maybe not having to go here, there and everywhere and having a notepad and things like that, being able to do all those things online, surveys, polls, making sure, gamification, making it engaging and fun is where we can really make a difference.
So much of it is about accessibility of information and inclusivity of information. It's having things readily available that you can easily complete to do the things that you need to do.
Yep.
Donna, for example, who does our videos, she doesn't want to have to do 30 presentations to people when they can make it.
Yep.
She wants to record it and she wants to be able to promote it and she wants to be able to see who's watched it, when they've watched it, and have leaderboards that determine the successful outcomes of people doing it.
Let's talk about how our technology can help in terms of, automatic CPD, certificate design, gamification, communities and things like that. What are we doing to help it?
Should we flip this on you?
I was gonna carry on.
I could see your hesitation. You were like,
carry on engaging. Shall I just answer it myself?
You should just start, because you know better than me, don't you? So we're revising our Let's do this. We're doing some major changes to our CPD certification and approach on the platform.
We are
at the moment,
right at the moment.
Would you mind explaining what we're doing?
Yes. Yes,
You
I
do
wouldn't mind.
Okay, come on.
No, I wouldn't mind explaining. So we've known and we've had ambitions to make this a lot easier to implement, CPD a lot easier to implement for people for a long time, and we've had this kind of going in the back of our minds, and now we've prioritized it in the roadmap to actually get this done. So what we are doing, and will come out in May, so that's May 2025, just in case you're watching this as an old video, is with our, the pattern that we've got is to give people WYSIWYG tools to design pages, to design registration forms, to design badges, drag and drop, no code, nice and easy. We see that pattern is exactly the same for a certificate. So we will be able to completely and utterly replicate any sort of certificate that you would have had offline. People can obviously still post those out in cardboard form if they, nice paper stock form if they want to. But the print at home, get your certificate, prove that you've done it route, you'll be able to replicate what your real life certificate looks like, or you'll be able to design a brand new one if you want to, and then send that off as a PDF to your printer, so you can actually, that can be your starting.
I love the builder for the certification. It's so slick.
It'll be nice. So it'll be, obviously, in terms of certification, you're looking at a lot of personalization. So you're looking at a lot of merge tags, merge fields into, pulling names in, pulling job titles in, pulling the actual different modules. So we'll have a big library of different certificates that you can design, so you unlimited
number of points. I can't remember that being.
So the clever bit it is obviously going to be what triggers that certificate to happen. What we don't want to do is just give you a certificate designer. We want to put data on the back of it and give you triggers, what we call triggers, to activate that to be automatically sent to people when they meet a threshold.
Threshold, yeah, clever.
So it's, that could be anything. So it could be filling in a survey to prove you've done it and getting that survey correct. It could be scanning a QR code. It could be having your attendance, your badge code
tracked in,
scanned,
tracked out.
checked in, checked out.
Could you just do check-in? Because sometimes people just want to check them in. They don't have enough staff to check them out.
You can just do check-in, or you could do what we're building is the sort of time
Yeah.
you need to be in a session for a certain amount of time.
Sometimes that's a requirement, yeah.
Things that will come slightly later than the first version is like we know how, for virtual events, we will know how long someone watched something for. So you could add that. You will be able to add a series of triggers. So
More than one thing has to happen
to
before.
start with, it would be one thing.
Yeah.
But shortly afterwards, it will be, you can build up. So you have to have scored at least 100 points in gamification.
That's what I was going to ask, yeah.
So you have to have gone and
Cumulative points.
found information,
Yeah.
prove that you know the information.
That's cool.
You need to have attended sessions for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
You need to have completed a survey, a feedback survey at the end of the session. So it can be a series of things, and then automatically, once that's triggered, you will get the email that says, congratulations, you've achieved your certificate. Here is your certificate as a PDF attachment, which you can print at home if you want to.
Yeah.
And like I said, you could also receive a fancier one.
So you can have surveys or feedback associated with abstracts, so that number of abstracts that they've reviewed, or
yeah. So we can we will be bringing online the sort of page view element to it. The sort of, you know, what was your activity, what was your behaviours throughout the event. And the other thing that we will add to it as well is just a manual send out.
Yep.
Well, a couple of things actually. So you don't have to do the trigger-based thing. So if you wanted to do something slightly more complex that we can't achieve initially, you can just put those people into a group and send everyone the certificate after the event.
So you just create the email template using your template design, match it across from previous emails.
Yeah, and what we've learned from previous functionality that we've got is particularly when around email and junk boxes, and you know, it's a complicated beast sending an email to someone. So you will be able to download that certificate as an organizer and send it to them a different way if you wanted to,
yeah.
or you know, or get every individual certificate as and when, just one by one, send it to them again.
Sounds good.
Like so there's lots of things we are doing to aid it, and that will. Whenever we do something, first of all, it is the first step in what is usually quite a long roadmap of making it as good as possible.
Yeah, it changes.
We'll gather the feedback from people. We've already got a lot of feedback from people along the development cycle. We'll get it out there. We'll talk to people, get them using it, get their feedback, change it, amend it, make it perfect. So we're excited about it. It's a nice It's going to be a nice feature, a nice addition to what we're doing. Okay, so we've covered this a little bit earlier, but the sort of examples of CPD activities in terms of event types. So webinar series, workshops, online courses, conferences, that sort of thing. Does that pretty much cover what we're talking about when we say CPD activities?
Yeah, I mean, it's across all of those formats. So what were the formats again? Conferences,
webinars, workshops, online courses.
Yeah, I mean, that ticks off all the boxes. I think what you're finding is that often now, rather than being all of the CPD associated with a single conference where you get all your membership community, it is going to be a combination of all. It's about creating a community that can continue to collaborate in between the in-person conferences. And when I talk about that, echoing what we're seeing in corporate copying the kind of membership association, that's exactly what we're seeing. An event app that turns into a community that enables webinars, which has that continuous conversations throughout the year.
Let's brainstorm a couple of things that you might be able to use CPD for that maybe, you know, obviously event organisers are going to be watching this, and you know, the association market will resonate with lots of people, but maybe slightly outside of the box, I guess, academia, so universities, colleges, open days, things like that, so attendance like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, training and education, L&D platforms are using this type of thing on a regular basis for certification.
Some of the people in our market, so you know, those who perhaps know a lot about event technology and they've got communities, they've got membership communities within our platform, might want to think about you know, adding in some sort of certification
Well,
along the way.
we want to.
Yeah,
We want to for our community.
yeah,
Any community, people like getting something back.
yeah.
And when they do anything with us, when they get something, it's customized and it's personable and it feels special. And it's the same with those certificates. They look bloody fabulous. And people like getting things like that. I quite like the badges as well as certificates. I would like to be able to have a badge and then you can promote that badge and you can say, look at me, how wonderful I am, and creating those assets.
Traditional gamification, right? It's that little dopamine hit of I've achieved something, I've got something to prove,
Yep.
I've got something to prove that I, you know, hit that milestone. I mean, you like it so much because you were a swimmer as a young man.
Oh,
You
I've got
probably
all my badges.
Had badges all over your shorts for all your.
Well, did we get
swimming
them for
achievements.
gym as well?
You did used to get them in primary school. You used to
Yeah.
get, was it Coca-Cola? No, it might. I don't think it was Coca-Cola. That was the Bobby Charlton Soccer School, I think.
What
But
was
most
one
of
where
it-
Sharon Davies came in? Do you remember her coming?
Super schools?
Super Schools, blimey. I had a picture of me sat on Sharon Davies' lap. My dad was so jealous.
Well, I remember that so well because I think we were about 6 or 7. Well, perhaps a little bit older.
Yeah,
than that.
maybe.
I was too scared to sit on Sharon Davis's lap,
Were you?
so I didn't have the photo.
I wasn't.
I think I got one with Daley Thompson though. So he didn't scare me as much as Sharon Davis.
He was the year before or after. We had
Yeah, he was.
Daley.
You had Daley Thompson.
Isn't it
then, yeah.
amazing that you had, back then, like these guys were just absolute superheroes. Like Sharon Davies, because I was a swimmer, she was like a superhero.
Absolutely.
To me, like literally this goddess.
Yeah.
Of like sporting goddess coming to our school.
I think
Daily
that's why I was
as well.
afraid of her. I think that's why I was scared to have
But
my
not
photo
scared of
taken.
Daily.
But he's also perhaps got a nicer face. Perhaps he had a different energy.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe. Where were we?
I mean, that proves that I remember the badges. I remember, and I know people aren't going to send out, look, do not have technology to give you an embroidered badge with your CPD.
Get on with it.
But I have designed them. Do you
Yeah,
know
no,
I've
yeah,
designed, I nearly, for our staff, to have actual physical badges. And
That they had to wear on their CrowdComms top
everyone
when
was
they got on
very,
site.
very keen. Actually, no, some of the T-shirts have badges on the sleeves, and we were thinking actually we don't need to get embroidered stick-on badges, but that would be more fun.
Like scout badges.
Yeah, but we could have a series of T-shirts with
So Amin, who goes
Different
out
badge.
site, could have his on-site hero,
exactly.
his
He's
CMS
got
hero.
perhaps all of his badges
He'd have.
down the
Let's
side.
be honest. Amin would have every badge.
I mean,
going.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So a lot of our guys would have a lot of badges. You'd
quite
almost
like
have to have long sleeve T-shirts because it's like scouts.
Yeah.
So you put them down your sleeve.
Could we wear the scarf toggle?
A woggle and is it
Woggle?
a woggle?
I don't know.
It's a woggle, sixes and dib and all of that. I remember.
I
that.
lasted about 2 weeks in scouts.
Well, you can see that accreditation and CPD, it's not just for associations, it's for life,
Yeah,
right?
for
If you
everyone.
run a scout group and you wanted to do digital badges, we don't have any scouting groups as clients running events, but if you wanted to do it, they probably do it digitally.
Yeah, they probably do. Yeah.
And you've got Duke of Edinburgh, things like that. There is tons of things where you get a badge or a certificate at the end of it.
Yeah.
People love certificates. So, okay, you can tell that we love CPD. That's why we've finally built
I found my
the
record of
feature.
achievement the other day with my like GCSE and all the leaflets, all the certificates, like all my gym, swimming, like football, everything, all in this one
I was
book.
explaining to my team the other day what a national record of achievement was.
Yeah.
So because I think they stopped giving those folders out
Beautiful.
shortly after ours. So I know exactly where my wife's national record of achievement is. It's got all of her CPD in.
Yeah.
All of her pharmaceutical industry certificates are in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it does beg the question, why are you still using your national record of achievement as an adult?
Mine
But,
did stop at 16.
yeah. She's not taking, or she probably does take it to interviews.
I'm not
actually.
surprised that she's done it.
No,
though.
you know her.
Knowing
And you
her.
know that she worships that burgundy folder. I actually looked to see if you could buy one because they're quite they're quite cool from a retro point of view. They're quite cool now.
Yeah.
And I think that, some of the things the government do are obviously questionable, but that sort of thing for kids,
We might
cool.
find that comes back.
physical,
Yeah.
the physical element of
Yeah,
it.
I can't remember what country it is that also some of these traditions that need to come back. It's like when you have a baby and you'd get a Moses basket, you'd
Yeah.
get formula, you'd get blankets and your baby outfits, so that you started, and it's like kind of that kind of
Here's a
national initiative.
here's
it's
a
just fabulous.
start-off point.
Yeah.
I mean, my children, we're getting told to actually get back on subject.
Yeah.
My children actually were the generation that got a trust fund given to them by the government. So they're all 18, 20, 19, 20, my kids. They can now access the money that the government gave them when they were born.
That must have stopped with, because
It stopped. Toby doesn't have it. So my youngest.
Toby is the same age as my
It's
Rosie.
2011. I think it stopped in 2009, something like that. Probably.
Typical.
You missed it.
Yeah.
You were supposed to put money into the trust fund. We've got a savings account separate, but it was a nice little sort of 800 quid now for them to kind of use whatever they want. Anyway.
Yeah. A quarter of a year of car insurance for them.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Right then. So, we've talked about how it's integrated into our technology. It simplifies the delivery because obviously a lot of these people traditionally have been doing it offline, haven't they?
Yeah. Well, yeah, they would have done a lot of it offline in terms of certification. They used to do. It's the same with like that kind of member community voting and weighted voting,
Yes.
general meeting voting. It's that type of thing that would traditionally have all been done offline, and actually now we can really simplify it.
Yeah.
For people and do it.
And I
all
guess what
digitally.
we've seen is people using our tool to gather that information, but then not having the final piece of the certificate and the trigger being in our platform.
The result.
Yeah.
The outcome.
Lovely. Okay. Future trends for CPD and associations. I mean, I touched on, those additional, us being a platform that you could use for learning and development. I guess it's us just pushing the functionality that exists for communities to do more.
Yeah.
Longer exams, results at the end of a survey,
What about
more engagement.
Do you not think it will be in relation to demonstrating an understanding of the content? So I personally feel it will be more kind of AI products where you can potentially do a collaborative piece of work with a group, and then it will demonstrate that everyone within that group has understood it for certification, or you will take a quick snapshot of a video of a review of what you've done. It will then take those outcomes and generate the certification.
Yeah.
I think it will be validation of the retention of information rather than just having it delivered to you. That will be the innovation.
I mean, that's how my son uses AI, to help him revise. Can you generate me a quiz based on this content?
That's cool.
That I can revise from, and it will give a series of questions back to them, which he can then backwards and forwards.
Will you have to give the awarding, the national awarding body? So if it's Oxford,
Yeah, he can either, he can.
so it will actually draw. Yeah, clever.
So help me revise, yeah, absolutely. Okay, I think we have covered pretty much everything and a bit more.
Yeah,
for CPD.
Lots of very useless stuff in there.
Super schools, all sorts. So thank you very much for joining us again. Please remember to like and subscribe if you can. But for now, I think probably we will see you next time, hopefully. Goodbye.